Read the legal disclaimer before proceeding.
What's good, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's your girl Nika. It's time for another Tea Talk, aka Nika's News. So before I proceed, make sure you have paid attention to the legal disclaimer at the beginning of this video. Okay? So anyway, guys, let's get to it. So before I begin, I want to go ahead and say my condolences to the two individuals that I'm going to talk about today. This may be a little bit touchy for a lot of people, so I hope you're able to continue to watch to the end of the video, but I want to show my respects, okay? All right, so the first victim here, or the first individual, I would say, his name is Kitoris Sparks, known as KJ, age 3. So what kind of happened to him? He was actually, well, let me just tell you a little bit more first before I get into it. So he actually died July the 22nd of 2025 after being left in a vehicle in Birmingham, Alabama, while in the care of a contracted transport worker. And I don't know if I said contracted right because it sounds confusing, but on a contracted transport worker for the Department of Human Resources. So pretty much, according to reports here, Mr. KJ had been taken from daycare by the worker for a supervised visit with his father that ended at 11:30 a.m. So instead of this worker taking him back to daycare, he decided he wanted to run some errands. He wanted to go to the grocery store, pick up some food. He wanted to go to the tobacco shop before he returned home. And he left the little boy in the car from 12:30 p.m. till 5:30 p.m. The little boy was pronounced dead at 6:03 p.m. at the scene of the Birmingham Fire and Rescue Services. Now, before I proceed, I'm going to go ahead and say, it always states that you are considered innocent until proven guilty. But I'm going to go ahead and say, for this situation, he, she, whoever the worker is definitely guilty. They need to be put behind bars, okay? Because this is crazy. Now, no matter what the situation was, why the father did not have custody of the kid, they trusted the Human Resources Department to handle their little boy. He was in their custody, their care. And you had this contracted worker running personal errands. I mean, you let him, whatever y'all policy is. He was out here just running errands, going to the tobacco shop. He could have been under the influence on weed, marijuana, same thing. Whatever toxics he had in his body, he was doing something illegal. So he should not just be running errands. And then if you did want to run errands, you could at least had the little boy in there with you. If you want to go grocery shopping, take him in the store with you. You want to go to the tobacco store, take him in there with you. You know what I mean? But you left him in a hot, steaming car for 5 hours. And they also say that the car temperature got up to 150 degrees while it was already 96 to 108 degrees outside. Inside the car, it was 150 degrees, so I'm sure he probably didn't have no windows rolled down. The little boy probably suffered a tragic death in a hot car. So, of course, they terminated him. And as far as we know, that is all they have done yet up until this far, okay? Do you think that is justice? No, it is not justice for that little boy. It is not justice. That man deserves to be behind bars. He or she, whoever it is, deserves to be behind bars under the jail. A 3-year-old little boy will no longer be seen, will no longer have his life. There was 2 different families trying to raise him. He was in foster care and he was getting ready to, have a foster family, but they were also working it out with the actual real family with the father. That's why he had supervised visits. They were trying to figure out the situation, but now they will never see this little boy again. And who would have known it would have been his last day? That was the father's last moment to see his son. It's like, it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking to know that they trusted this worker to transport him from daycare, and he was supposed to take him back to daycare and never even got there. So that is just, it is just crazy. It's crazy. So it's also been reported that, of course, the transport worker, as I mentioned before, employed by Covenant Services Incorporated, has been terminated. Police have questioned them and are actively investigating whether charges should be filed. Of course, charges should be filed. What you think? Yes, charges should be filed. And of course, the DHR and the Covenant, they have declined to comment about it because they want to say, oh, this is confidential. No, F confidentiality. Bump all of that. Y'all need to be saying something, versus just terminating him immediately. He should have had the cops calling him right then and arrested. Okay? So this is just crazy. The stuff that people going through on a daily basis, the stuff that people are doing in this world. What gave that man, what made him feel comfortable enough to just keep a boy in a hot, steaming, boiling car while he's out just running personal errands? If he wanted to do that, all he had to do was drop that little boy back off at daycare. And then he could have did what he wanted to do. I don't understand. I can't wrap my mind around this because, I could only imagine, how it feels to be in a hot car for 15 minutes. You ain't got no air circulating. You can't breathe. It's hot. You ain't got no water to drink. The windows ain't down. 15 minutes, you probably feeling like you are going to die within 15 minutes. And he was in there for 5 hours. 5 freaking hours. That is freaking crazy. That is just beyond crazy. Anyway, just moving on. But I just had to prove my point that this is just, he deserves justice. KJ deserves justice. The family deserves justice. This is just crazy. And the family needs to seek some legal responsibilities from the worker and from the agency. Yes. So this is just crazy. But anyway, so why it matters, why all of this matters, that they seek justice, and why they do things a little bit differently next time so that they could prevent this situation. Let me go ahead and read some information to you that I saw online of why it matters, okay? So unlike many accidental hot car incidents that involve parents, in this case, the child was entrusted to the care of a state contracted provider. And it was, there was no justice there. They entrusted them and they failed. They failed them. So, of course, dealing with this whole situation, they need to put in better policies. They need to enforce different things, different rules. They need to have some trackers or something on these cars to know where you're going at all times. They need to communicate and say, hey, where is the child? The visit ended at 11:30. It's now 1 o'clock. Where are you? The child is not at daycare. He should have been back 30 minutes ago. They should have been calling. You let this person have free range for 5 hours and you didn't communicate on what was going on. Nobody knew where the child was at. Daycare should have been like, how long is the visit? How long is he's going to be gone? When should we expect him back? If he's not back by a certain time, who do I need to call? Because we want to make sure he gets back here safely. So something should have been put in place for people to check on this little boy, whether it was a daycare, whether it was another worker with the DHS, whether it was the father, if he was able to say, okay, well, he left me at 11:30. I just want to make sure my son got back there safely. We need to figure something out. So they should have had something put in place that they can check on this little boy. And yet again, the system failed. the system failed. Anyway, guys, I'm going to go ahead and show you some pictures of him real quick. So like I say, take a brief moment and just get your thoughts and mind together. Take a look.
As you drive, do you know I'm looking, and I can't help but smile.
When I say yeah, respectful.
This is how Katorius Starks Sr. remembers his 3-year-old son. Katorius Starks Jr. was found dead hours after being left in a hot car.
I know in between 11:30 and 12 o'clock, I say 12:15, he should have been back at the daycare.
Police say a contract worker with the Alabama Department of Resources left the child unattended on Pine Tree Drive.
Like when he leave me, he's supposed to go right back to the daycare.
The Alabama Department of Human Resources says the employee has been terminated.
His foster parent drops him off at daycare. The transporter of DHR picks them up from daycare and then bring him to the DHR building in Beltman to have supervised visitation.
The Starks family wants the worker to be held accountable beyond losing their job.
Because it was neglect. I feel personally that he was neglected, and that's the true cause of his death.
Starks Sr. says he hopes to uplift his family by remembering his son's life.
Yes, man. One time I knew how to count, knew his color, 3 years old. Knew all the animals. One time, man, he was very intelligent.
Yes, he was, bro. He was real nice and all that.
Like, he was just joyful.
Yeah.
So again, I hope the family seeks justice for KJ. And the next steps that we should be watching out for is whether charges are filed against the transport worker or the employer. And I'm going to say and the employer because they need to file charges on both of them. And we also need to look out for internal investigations dealing with the Covenant Services and DHR. They need to also put in new policies, training, and oversight, so this won't never happen again. We also need to be watching out to see if court filings by the family, if they seek some justice, as I mentioned before, lawsuits for neglect and wrongful death. So I'm going to be looking out for all of that to see if I have any additional updates in regards to all of that, but they need to definitely do something better. So anyway, let me go ahead and move on to the next topic. Stay tuned. So again, my condolences for the next individual here. Her name is Miss Jennifer Harris, aka Jamma. She was 39 years old. She was a longtime McDonald's manager and a single mother of 6, employed at that location for 15 years. She worked at East Point, Michigan, McDonald's. And she was pronounced dead on July the 10th of 2025. So what do you think happened in this situation here? So pretty much, one of her workers, her name is Effendi Badu Muhammad. She was 26, a McDonald's employee and a co-worker of Miss Harris, with whom she had a verbal dispute earlier that morning. So what happened? Miss Harris sent her home earlier after they had this dispute, and she decided to come back with a knife and a hooded mask on. Well, she didn't have a mask, but just a hood over her head and a knife. And she stabbed her 15 times. 15 times. And what made her stop or drop the knife was because a customer pulled out a gun through the drive-thru window and just shot it in the air as a warning shot. And it made her drop her knife. But he was able to keep her there till the police came. Now, you don't know the world we live in. You can be as nice as you want to be and show kindness to everybody, and somebody can still feel like you're just not worthy of your life. I don't know the full situation or what could have went down, or if Miss Harris did something to provoke her at all, but that was the end of it. You know, you don't know what Mrs. Muhammad had going on in her life. And even with a name like that, I mean, Effendi Badu Muhammad, like, I mean, that's just a weird name to me. But anyway, you just don't know what she had going on in her life, and she come back and kill you. Stabbed you 15 times. That is crazy. So now, like I say, you are guilty. What more evidence do you need? You are guilty. What else? I mean, what else? And like I mentioned before about the person who helped kind of try to save the situation, they attempted. Like I said, illegally armed customer at the drive-thru fired a warning shot through the window, which caused can I get my words together? Which caused the suspect to drop the knife. The suspect was then detained until police arrived. And I just be so worked up talking about this stuff that I just be like, blah, 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 you know, just stumbling my words because I'm just like trying to get it out to you. But then my brain is just moving, just trying to like make sure you get everything, all the details, you just know it. You know what I mean? So forgive me. But anyway, so Miss Muhammad has been charged with first-degree premeditated murder and unlawful weapon possession. She's been held on a $25 million bond. Now that's crazy. Woo, that's high. It ain't crazy as in a bad thing. That's crazy because she ain't getting out. Who got $25 million laying around? Let alone a lot of people ain't even got $2,000 laying around. Okay? With a not guilty plea entered. She said she was not guilty. I'm not guilty. I stabbed this lady 15 times and I'm not guilty. Oh, my hand just kept going. But I'm not guilty. I came all the way from my house back to McDonald's to kill her, but I'm not guilty. I had to either drive my car or ride my bike or I walked, however you got there, but I'm not guilty. Yeah. I did all of this, but I'm not guilty. Yeah, that's crazy, right? You're not guilty. Get out of here. Anyway, so her probable cause conference is scheduled for July the 23rd. And the preliminary examination, will be on July the 30th of 2025. So, with all that being said here, yeah, you're guilty. And I wonder how everything went when they had it on July the 23rd. I wonder what did they say in courts in regards to that. But she goes back on July the 30th, which will be in a couple days from now. And also, so they had, for Miss Harris at McDonald's, they released balloons on behalf of her. And they also decided to create a GoFundMe account to help with her kids' funding and school expenses. So, guys, I do not know what the GoFundMe account is, but if you want to look it up, find out information about the GoFundMe account if you feel like you want to donate to her cause. And if I can find it, I will attach it down below somewhere for you, her GoFundMe information, if I do come across it. But anyway, guys, this is crazy. And Miss Harris also died at the hospital, and Muhammad was arrested and charged. Future court dates are set. So, this whole situation is, it's just terrible. And like I say, it's just hard to wrap your mind around the evil we live in, the world we live in, the drama we go through, the drama we see. And this is, it's just heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. But anyway, guys, I want you to go ahead and comment down below what you think about this whole situation here. And I'm getting ready to go ahead and move on to the next topic. Stay tuned. All right, so last but not least, the next topic is going to be talking about Miss Christine Ray Taylor, who is 28 years old. She worked at Classy Critters Pet Resort and Spa in Morrisonville, North Carolina, where, of course, they captured some viral videos of her violently handling dogs, punching, slapping, slamming during their grooming sessions. Now, I'm not a big pet lover. I don't own any pets. But when you watch these videos of what she's doing to these animals, you know this is wrong. You know? What were the dogs doing to her? She had them, they were already like tied up on the table so they wouldn't get free or loose. So they wasn't barking at her. They wasn't biting. They wasn't plunging. They wasn't doing anything but standing there. And she physically was slamming them. Punching them, yanking them, jerking them. Wow. Like, really. And it's so crazy how the person who was able to get her on camera, who was able to record these videos, was able to do it without her noticing or seeing or anything. You know what I mean? Which is a good thing. But let me go ahead and say real quick, you know, before I get into the whole case, the owner of the business, her name is Pam. She said that she wanted to legally take out a charge or something on the person who put these videos out here online because they didn't allow the business to handle the situation. Now, the person who recorded the video said that they went to the manager several times about her abusing the dogs, and she didn't take it seriously. So she was able to record her and put it online, and then now something is being done. So now your business is exposed for the business that it is. And now you say you had no knowledge of it. You had no knowledge of it, and it's just unacceptable. And we have now fired her. And she also mentioned, the owner mentioned that, you know, well, we can't watch them 24/7. We don't have any way to watch them. Yeah, you have cameras. You could set up some cameras that's 24/7. When you're not there, they're still recording, they're watching. If you cared about your business and your animals and your customers and what your employees are doing, yes. So if you cared about everything, you would have these cameras in there watching what these people are doing. So I want to go ahead and say, first of all, so for all the people who are taking their beloved animals there, I would stop going to Miss Classy Critters Pet Spa. I wouldn't go there anymore. I would not take my animals there again. And of course, they are trying to petition to get that place shut down. Due to the fact, I mean, this is crazy that it went viral. The video has 20 million views right now. Probably more, because when I researched this, it had 20 million views at that point. So that's what I wanted to say before I jumped into it. But anyway, so one clip shows a dog being spun around by his neck. Another shows it repeatedly being punched while drying. Another dog was slammed against a wall. And at least 4 clients' own dogs were seen being abused. I mean, she's now facing 4 counts. 4 felony charges on animal cruelty. And additional charges may be pending as investigations continue. So, I mean, like I said, this is crazy. She was arrested and taken into custody, and her bail was set to $10,000. And I do believe I'm not even sure if she's out or anything, but like I said, her bail was set to $10,000. It's not saying if it's secured or unsecured. But yeah, she was arrested and taken into custody over dog cruelty. So she's probably still in jail right now. But this is crazy. And let me go ahead and read to you real quick what it say here. In a public statement, Classy Critters owner Miss Pam condemned the behavior as totally unacceptable and confirmed Taylor was immediately fired. However, Pam reportedly threatens legal action against the whistleblower for sharing the videos online, prompting criticism over the facility's handling of the incident. But I'm going to show you some clips. I'm going to show you some videos. I'm going to show you everything to support what I'm saying.
New tonight and only on 9, an investigation into a dog groomer caught on video being rough with multiple dogs in her care. That employee in the video is now out of a job.
Now, we want to warn you that these video clips are tough to watch. They were taken at Classy Critters Pet Resort and Spa in Mooresville. Channel 9's Erica Jackson is live for us outside that business tonight. Erica?
Yeah, Erica, well, the woman who posted the video online told me that her sister caught the act on camera in June, and she says she shared it on social media on Friday to prevent this from happening to other pets.
This woman doesn't work at Classy Critters Pet Resort and Spa, but she says her sister did until Friday. That was the same day she posted several videos of a worker there grooming dogs with force.
I felt sick to my stomach, angry, and very upset for someone to be allowed to do this.
She asked us not to show her face in fear of retaliation, and we blurred the face of the worker in the video since Iredell County Animal Services says she hasn't been charged. In one video, you can see the worker spin the dog around by its neck and slap the dog several times. In another clip, the video shows the worker punch the pup 5 times. This woman says her sister wanted proof of what was happening behind closed doors.
She had reported this verbally to the owner of the establishment, and after numerous times and nothing being done, my sister thought, oh, I might need proof.
In a post on Facebook, the owner of Classy Critters wrote the employee in the video no longer works there and calls the behavior in the video totally unacceptable. Tracy Deal says she plans to continue taking her pets to Classy Critters grooming.
You know, as an owner, you tried to hire the best quality staff people in there, but you can't watch them all the time.
This woman says she posted the videos online to spread awareness.
I just want to see some accountability.
And Iredell County Animal Services says it's aware of the video and that there is an active investigation. Animal Services says no one has been arrested or charged. Reporting live in Iredell County, Erica Jackson, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
Thank you for bringing this to light, Erica. I know you'll let us know if anything further happens with that staff person.
Pets do deserve justice because, well, I say the pets and I also say the owners of the pets, because a lot of people really treat their pets like family. And these dogs, I'm sure if they were abusive or anything, like if they were violent animals, they would not have them in their business. Or they could at least say, well, ma'am, your dog is just too violent, too aggressive. You know, we cannot accept your animal here. They would, you know, let them know that. And if it was a situation where while she was grooming them, you noticed that she got bit or something, that's a whole different situation. But she was slamming them and they weren't even doing nothing, but literally standing there defensive. And she was just taking her anger out on the animals. I mean, if you didn't want that job, you didn't have to have that job. You could quit. Find you another job that you like. You know, people always stand put a place where they don't like because they're always complaining, I have bills. Everybody got bills. We all got bills. But if you're unhappy, you know how to just quit or find another job. You don't have to stay at a place where you don't feel welcome or wanted or needed, or you just don't want to be there. I'd be so sick and tired of hearing people complain about their job. And of course, you see me posting all the time talking about a job, but I'm not unhappy at my job. I want to seek better opportunities at my job. But if I didn't like it, I know how to quit. I know where the door is at. Let me walk right on out of here. But anyway, enough about me. Back to her, okay? Miss Taylor. So, with all this being said, she's guilty. But also, you need to put some blame on the owner, Miss Pam, as well, because it was reported before all this got out of hand. And she did nothing about it. And now she wants to seek legal action against the person who said something, you know, reported it to her and put it out for the world to see. I believe they did the right thing. And I hope that this whole legal action just backfire on Miss Pam. You know, because I would just shut this down. And I would not take my animal back there again. And I will make sure nobody else goes there again. And we will make sure, look, it is what it is, boo. But anyway, guys, that's pretty much all I have for today. And I hope you keep watching for more. Stay tuned, guys, okay? Please like and subscribe to my channel. Take it easy, and it's been real. And make sure you comment down below, like and subscribe.